Well, aloha kakahiaka. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Peter Kay, and you are on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Welcome, everyone. It is an Ask Us Anything show today, so we are looking forward to everyone's participation. And if you're not watching us live, which is August 30th, if you're not watching us live, you can, if you're on YouTube, you can go ahead. There's chapter markers. You can kind of zoom ahead. But for now, I'm going to give everyone an a komo mai, which is welcome in Hawaiian. Here's what we got planned for you today. We got some Hawaiian news we're going to be going over, and we've got some real estate market updates. Your questions, some of you have submitted questions in advance. Others are going to ask us questions live on the show. We got some diamonds and deals. We're going to be going over some real estate properties that people that our agents over here think that are worthwhile, either diamonds or deals or both. And then we're going to close with some motivational thoughts. So before we do that, what we're going to do, we're going to warm up. We have to warm up the show. We have to warm up the microphones. We have to warm up the internets. And so today we have, it's going to be a fun show today because Heidi is not with us. She is on family vacation. So Heidi, I hope you're having a good time. And Ashley's not feeling good. And, you know, both Dylan and I told Ashley this morning, in fact, she sent us an email, said, hey, Ashley, if you're not feeling good, just take it easy. Just rest. It's not worth it. So instead we have Kara from Maui. Kara, what's the correct way to pronounce your last name?
Crimmins.
Kara Crimmins from Maui is hailing. Kara, how's you know, when we just before we started on today, you asked about the weather. How's Maui this morning? How are you this morning? What's going on in Maui?
I am sunshine every day. So I am great. And I'm bringing some sunshine to this very gloomy day. And I have to say that the rain is so needed. And we always have incredible rainbows when the rain comes out. It's very dense air today. So stay inside, turn up your air conditioner if you can. And as always, be the sunshine.
Man, if it was a cloudy day, it won't be cloudy now with that kind of an intro from Kara. That is about as bright as sunshiny a welcome as I think that we're going to find. Thank you, Kara. And by the way, folks, if you've just joined us, give us a quick shout out in the comments. I'd like to know who you are and where you're from. Dylan is in a secret, undisclosed location. But he's thanks for making it, Dylan. What's going on where you're at? And I normally ask you about the Aloha shirt that you're wearing, but today is like it's military green day today. But what's going on where you're at right now, Dylan?
I'm actually on location at the 9th Island today. Here for a jiu-jitsu tournament with my son. So that's my main extracurricular activity, and it's actually the biggest jiu-jitsu event in the world. There's over 10,000 competitors, so it's a super cool experience. It's a convention also, so you have all of the vendors and different exhibitions and stuff like that. So a lot of fun here with a couple of kids from our gym. And yeah, I totally forgot that I needed an Aloha shirt for today, so I am wearing whatever clothes I have. So apologize for that, but that's okay. It's all good. We made it, and looking forward to the show today. And the weather here is ridiculous. Like, I mean, you know, it's one of those things. We always talk about the weather in Hawaii being so perfect. It's, I think, 105 today, and it's you know, we're still almost into September, and it's hot, but it's beautiful. Not a cloud in the sky, because that's the way it is in Vegas. So, Hey, Peter, you're muted.
Yeah, thank you. 105 in the shade. One of my fondest memories of Las Vegas weather years ago. I rented a convertible because I wanted to test out a convertible. This was a very long time ago. And I'm driving around in a convertible, and it's 11:30 at night. It's 11:30 at night. And I look at the temperature on, you know, in the car, it's 103 degrees, 103 at 11:30 at night. And I thought, man, oh man.
That's crazy.
Man, oh man, that is crazy. Hey, but speaking of crazy, Mark's with us. Hey, Mark Whitehill from Aloha from Mililani. Welcome, Mark. It's good to see you, buddy. Mark is one of our senior members of the Islander Ohana, and great to see you here, Mark, today. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, cool. And Dylan, you know, look, man, it's not about the Aloha shirt. It's about what's the shirt that you're wearing. So whatever shirt you're wearing is the right shirt. So I think the military army green is relevant and certainly appropriate for today. All right, cool. Hey, let's move on. You know, I got some news I'm going to throw out here, and it's just kind of stuff that I came across that I think is interesting. And if you guys want to comment on it when we go back around and do a market update, feel free to comment. So I'm going to throw some news on the screen right now. So a couple of things going on. It is hurricane season, so we're going to have a little bit more of a relaxed show today because we have fewer people. So I think we go into some more conversation. So hurricane season, actually, that's going to be one of our topics for today for a discussion. Hurricane season. So we had it's kind of one of these things, and we'll talk about it more later. But in Hawaii today, we just got through with Hurricane Hone. It's not Hurricane Hone, by the way, Hone. It's not Hurricane Hone. It's Hurricane Hone. But anyway, we had Hurricane Hone go through, which is actually, if you're wondering about that, is a Hawaiian pronunciation of the word. It's not a typical Western pronunciation of the word. Anyway, so we had that. We also had Hurricane Gilma. Didn't pass through, but was kind of close. And there was also a tropical storm Hector. So it's one of those things. It is that kind of a season for hurricanes in Hawaii. So that's kind of fun. And so I caught another story which I thought was really fun, quite funny. And but by the way, there was all kinds of things. Roads were shut down. There was a lot of rains, but we all got through these things fairly unscathed. Although I'd be curious of how the Big Island fared, because Dylan had mentioned. Furious about that are a little bit different. So let's see here. One thing that's interesting is that we have beaches, bikinis, and battle axes. So there's this one story. It's kind of funny. There was a bunch of so check this out, everybody. So now we are now celebrating our Second Amendment rights. This was the scene in Waikiki Beach with a bunch of guys reinforcing their Second Amendment rights. And just kind of thought it was funny about beaches, bikinis, and battle axes. You normally don't get that kind of a magic combination. I thought that was kind of a fun thing. Only in Hawaii thing. Changes to Honolulu property taxes. There's some talk about changing the tax rate, giving a larger home exemption, and also taxing homes that are empty. So I was curious. We're going to talk about that, but Assie's not here today, so we're going to probably skip that. Visitor strike. It looks like there's lots of rumblings about visitor industry strikes going on in Hawaii. Looks like the hotel workers are organizing for a strike. The flight attendants, I believe, were striking, or preparing to strike. There's rumblings about strikes going on. So if you're making plans for visiting in Hawaii, you want to be aware of that. And then finally, squatting is a growing problem. There is apparently looks like the squatting problem is coming to Honolulu, where there are people that are squatting into units, and there's difficulties in getting them out. And so there's all kinds of moves and laws that are being brought up, and difficulties and challenges. And I hope we don't have a larger problem about that. That's a quick overview of the news. I kind of want to give a quick shout out to those of us who have also joined us. So Mark, thanks, Mark. Mark says, "Yeah, I'm a senior member now." Nice. Yeah. Hey, Mark. Sorry, dude. That's the way it works is, when you have a silver hair, you're at least one or more silver hairs, you're a senior member. Sorry, Charlotte, that's the way it goes. But Mark, you're one of the first that joined the Aloha. It's been years now. It's been great. Bob Carl's with us. Hey, Bob, welcome back. Bob is from Hawaii Kai Peninsula. Bob, we are really glad that you're here. I'm glad that you've made it. So why don't we do this? Let's just go. We're gonna flip and do a market update right now. I want to get some updates from Kara and from Dylan. Why don't we do this? Why don't we go, Dylan? Why don't you go first? Give us some kind of an update of kind of what you see going on the Big Island. What's happening? What do you see going on? Then after we move on to you, we'll move on to Kara. But first, we're going to say hi to Judy, who just jumped in. Hey, Judy. Welcome back, Judy. Judy is also a senior member of the Aloha and has joined Dylan's team, which is really, really cool. How cool is that? So she is part of the team with Dylan on the Big Island. So, Judy, we're glad that you're here and glad that you're joining us. Dylan, give us the market update. What's going on the Big Island?
Yeah, so the trend continues of lower than normal sales. I just looked today. We had 309 sales on the Big Island, and that's down from just under 400 last month, and the month before that it was 334. So lower than normal. We'll have a few more recorded sales probably today and tomorrow because it's the end of the month, but we're still going to end the month relatively at historically low numbers of sales. So it's been slow. I think everybody's feeling that around the state. It's not really affecting prices, which we keep going back to, is prices are holding pretty steady, but inventory continues to be higher than normal. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, but we're about 2,200 active listings, which is higher than it's been in the last almost 3 years, but still very, very low compared to historical averages, which were normally above 3,500 listings when we were pre-COVID times. And so kind of been a steady, consistent type of market the last 4 or 5 months. And but I think we've talked about this in the past, and this is kind of a nationwide trend right now. Things normally do slow down pre-presidential elections because of uncertainty, and people are distracted. And what we normally see happen in 9 out of the last 11 presidential elections, real estate gets busy right after. So sales go up, prices go up. And so I wouldn't expect that to be any different this year, given interest rates coming down a little bit and inventory continuing to rise. Now's actually a really good time as a buyer. There's a lot of opportunities right now. And if you wait till after the election, potentially things will get busier. So we'll see what happens. And it really doesn't matter who wins, right? That's one of the things that has happened. If you look at those 9 elections, I mean, it doesn't matter kind of which side wins. It's just the uncertainty settles. People find out the world doesn't end after an election. If your guy loses, the world continues, America goes on, and people get back to normal life. So we've got a few more months, and we'll see what happens.
Hey, but Dylan, but wait a minute. I've heard from both sides that this is the most important election of our lifetime, and if we don't win, America is going to go to hell in a handbasket. And surprisingly, both sides believe that. So, if both sides believe it, it's not true.
I've been through quite a few most important elections of my life. I'm sure you've been through more than me. So we hear that every year, I think.
We hear it's become almost like the world is going to end on this year. I've been through a bunch of those in my lifetime too, right? It was supposed to be 1992, then it was 2020. Was it 2020? 2012. Thank you. There was even a movie about it. 2012. So I guess if we're still here, we're good. And speaking of still here, here's who's still here with us. Misty Padilla is here. Welcome, Misty. Misty is part of Dylan's team. Aloha, everyone. Misty, I just realized the EK in the middle initials, is that like EK as in EK Fernandez? Is there a relationship there? Because I remember EK Fernandez is a big name in Hawaii. I'm curious if the EK relates to the EK Fernandez film. But anyway, Misty, welcome. Great. I'm really, really glad that you're here. You were great on the show when you were a part of it. And Michael's with us from San Diego. Welcome back, Michael. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here with us. And glad that you're here. And Missy's low. Oh my God. So is that because of the end of the world comment? Her
middle name's a long, beautiful. She has a long, beautiful Hawaiian name, which I cannot say or remember, but she could tell you next time she's on the show.
Yeah. Well, I think she may have, but maybe that's what the EK Fernandez name is. Who knows? Anyway, sorry, Misty. I don't mean to butcher your beautiful name. When I saw EK, just made me think of EK Fernandez. That's all. We got a few other folks here from Dylan's team here. I'm glad that you're all here. Hawaiian Island Properties by Rachel. Aloha and good morning. Welcome. Okay, so it's there. There we go. Here's the family history. My mother gave me the holy name Evangeline, and a long Hawaiian name. Licensing requires full name. Interesting. Okay, so Misty, we're gonna do a little bit of a detour here from the show. Evangeline is the Greek word evangelia. Evangelia is, as you said, holy. Evangelia is from the Greek word angelia, which is angel. So angelic, evangelical. There's the evangelicals, Evangeline, evangelical Christians. So that is the Greek word. We get to do a little bit of Greek words as well as Hawaiian words here today. So there you go. That's what we got. So all right, excellent, great. So let's move on here. Back to the show here. Kara, Dylan, real quick before we move on to Kara and talk about Maui. I just thought about what would be the headline, Dylan, that you would give a buyer if someone's looking to buy right now on the Big Island. What is the headline as far as the current market conditions? How would you describe it today to a buyer?
You have more options today and less competition than you've had in the last 3 years.
Thank you, man. That folks is a headline. That's what a headline looks like. Thank you. That's what a headline looks like. That is what a headline. Great. All right, Kara, your turn. Give us a feel. What's your feel of the Maui market? And numbers are great, but I'm really looking for a feel as well. So what do things feel like, and what are some numbers about the Maui market, Kara?
So they go hand in hand because the numbers do dictate what it feels like here. And just like it is on the Big Island, that we're seeing a huge, massive increase on listings. and it's up 93% this month alone. Year over year, it's 209 up from last year over year. So people are putting their condos primarily on the market, and there's so much volatility around this short-term vacation rental, hotel zoned, meta-toilist, where are we going to be seeing this change and pushing people into a long-term residential requirement from their short-term vacation rentals? So they're moving and putting it on the market right now as a massive increase. And the strange thing is that it's still at a higher price point. So of course that leads to the days on market staying at this high stalemate, and we're at 55% up from last year because the prices are still going up. So there's a lot of confusion, and the buyers are waiting, the sellers are trying to get out. So there needs to be coming of the minds, I guess, where we can get the prices to match what the buyer's needs are. And then that way the sellers who want out can get out. So that's what I'm seeing over here. And in the residential market, it's far more balanced. There's far more balance in the residential market than the condo. It's steady. It feels as if it's truly a balanced market right now, where the volatility is in the condo market. And people are paying the prices that are still listed, even though they're at steady increase. There's a 2.6% increase in pricing, and people are still paying it because they're closing out at the same price of the listing price. So the sold price is the same as the listing price. It's just amazing to me how things are shifting in the condo market, but staying really calm in the residential.
That's interesting. So that's very interesting, Kara. You know, I hear clearly there's the we're still kind of dealing with the up and tumble of the after effects and secondary and tertiary effects of the Maui, the Lahaina fires, and the interventions and the incentives and the federal government and the state government, all these kinds of things going on. Same question I asked to Dylan. Kara, how would you summarize? Give me the headline of what you would tell a buyer right now. So because they're dramatically different, right? There's condo buyers and there's home buyers. So let's talk about a condo buyer, because that might be the more fun one. What would you tell a condo buyer today? What's the headline? What's the summary?
There's still gems to be found, and look at the HOA and the insurance prices, because you can still find your, let me shorten it. Here we go. Here's the
Shorten
title.
the headline one more time. Here we go. Go ahead.
Yep. Now I'm like, stop talking. So this is it. Look for the gem. Buy now, because Maui will rebound. Done.
There you go. Look for the gem, buy now, because Maui will. Yes, it will. Of course it will. It's one of the most desirable places on earth. It most certainly will rebound. It's already in process of rebounding. Excellent. Thank you, Kara. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Barbara, who's joining us again. Welcome back, Barbara. Aloha and once from Coeur d'Alene. I know I blew that one. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. There we go. Coeur d'Alene. Although it seems like it should be more fancier sounding, but Barbara is a very senior member. Barbara, if I'm not mistaken, you're in your 90s. God bless you. And you're here on the show with us, which is like totally cool. That is absolutely fabulous. So welcome back. And we're glad that you have joined us. All right, great. Hey, let's do a quick station break over here. So if you want to, go to islanderohana.com. Go there. There's a join button. We are putting together the cohort. The cohort is forming for, it's going to start in October 12th. And so look, here's what I did a long time ago. I put this thing together to help you live the dream in Hawaii. You know, a lot of people make the move, and for many people it ends up being a disaster. It takes decades to figure it out. We've got courses and classes that are going to help you figure out what took me at least 10 years to figure out. Plus, you're going to figure out in a couple of months. Got new friends, the folks that are here from the Island of Ohana, like Judy and like Mark are here, and there's others that are here you get to join this great group of people who have made the transition successfully and are living in Hawaii, supporting local values, supporting the local culture, and really living the dream. So if that's you, if you want to be part of that, go back to livinginhawaii.com. There's a big join button at the top. Click on the join button, pop in your email address. I'll get you on an email list, and you'll be able to join and be a part of our Island of Ohana. I can't recommend that enough. Be a part of that. But okay, let's move on. So here's a big question I've got for us today. I was thinking about this, so I brought this up earlier. So what's it like living with extreme weather? You know, so I was So as we had these, as we had the hurricanes and the tropical storms, and Dylan on the Big Island, there was an earthquake, a 4.7 earthquake. We kind of live, there. I know there's. We always kind of wonder about what the extreme weather is like on a given place. What are tornadoes like if you're in the Midwest, or what's hurricane season like if you're in Florida? And people think about this. People who are considering a move to Hawaii are thinking about the weather and the tsunamis. We have tsunamis here. We have earthquakes, tsunamis, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, right? Is what we have here in Hawaii. So what I'm curious about is what I want to talk about today is, what mindset do we get into as folks that have lived many, many years here, most of our lives, all of our lives here? What's the mindset like? What do you feel like when it's hurricane season and you see those reports and you see the hurricane and it's out there, or you get hurt, you get the earthquake, and you feel a tremble or not? What's it out there? So why don't we, Dylan, let's start with you. What is your vibe? Oh, by the way, and also share with us what happened in what was going on, if anything, in Kona during this extreme weather. So give me what's the mindset that you're into when you see these extreme weather events, living here all your life?
So there was definitely a ton of rain on the east side, and I would call this storm typical. So what always happens, and I've talked about this in the past on the show, is that the way the Big Island is designed, we have this huge mountain, Mauna Loa, that's like a huge wall that runs between the east and the west side. And so when weather comes from the west, it hits the east side of the island and usually gets trapped on that side. And most of the heavy rain happens on the east side. And the west side is very much protected. And I can tell you, on Saturday when the storm was passing, I went to the beach. It was sunny. It was beautiful. I posted a story on Instagram. People were like, "What are you doing at the beach? Like, there's a hurricane." And I'm like, "No, there's not." It's like, you can see from the video. It's beautiful. So it did rain on the west side almost all day, like light rain on Sunday, because I was kind of like, as it was passing, the trail and stuff kind of wrapped around and we got some rain. But it was pretty minor on the west side. The south side of the island had some flooding. There were some videos you could see online of the roads being flooded. So there was definitely some heavy rain. But other than that, it wasn't too bad. I'm not aware of any like major damages or anything like that, because the east side, the cool thing about the Big Island is the east side rains a lot no matter what, storm or no storm. That's the way the weather patterns run. And so the east side has really good drainage, right? I mean, it handles rain well, and you rarely get like flooding, quote unquote. It's more the wind that's the problem. Is the Big Island is not equipped for wind, and so when we get windy weather, you have a lot of trees that fall, and that causes a lot of damage. And we just didn't get that much wind this time, so that was the blessing. But here's an important. I always go back to stats, right? And my lending partner shared this with me, because he's very frustrated with the way that we're being treated. And this goes back to the discussion about condos and insurance and the requirement for hurricane insurance. And so I'll ask you guys, or maybe we should put it in the chat, but where does Hawaii rank in terms of hurricane risk in the United States, right? Like, you got to ask yourself this, because when you're assessing risk and figuring out how to plan and prepare for it, you should kind of know what is the likelihood. And surprisingly, Hawaii is not even in the top 50 or the top 50% of states at hurricane risk. We're at number 34, right, in terms of the amount of damage that we incur from hurricanes. And so, like, New York outranks us. I mean, so it doesn't seem like it makes any sense, but that's the reality. If you look historically at the data, people think Hawaii is a high hurricane risk state. It just looks that way because we're in the middle of the Pacific and we get hurricanes that pass us all the time, but very rarely do we get hit with a hurricane that causes any significant amount of damage. And if you look at the last 50 years, there's really been two storms, right? Eva back in the 70s, I believe, and then Iniki in the 90s. But it's been 30 plus years since we've had any major damage from a hurricane. And you look at Florida, it's like every couple of years they get whacked, and all of the eastern states get a lot more damage than we do. So in the grand scheme of things, it's a scary thing, but it's really not a credible risk. It's not something that we have to worry about. And then we can get into earthquakes and stuff, but even then, I mean, that's very, very minor. We get earthquakes all the time. The amount of risk, the amount of that time it damages us is minimal, and there's almost never any loss of life, from earthquakes. So if you look at other states, they have much more violent risks from extreme weather than we do.
So that was a great overview. Thanks for the weather and the Big Island and the west and the east side and how that hits. And I think it was really funny that you had a photo of you being at the beach. That was really, really great. I got a follow-up question that I want to ask you though, but before we do that, I want to kind of give a shout out to Judy. Judy is a member of the Islander Ohana. She says, "So excited for the next Islander Ohana cohort that's coming up. I'm going to continue attending, even though I've made the move to Hawaii, because I never want to quit learning about this amazing place you have helped me move to." Thank you, Judy. Judy, everybody is like, if you are lucky to be in the Islander Ohana or you join us, you will meet Judy, and Judy is amazing. A fantastic story about planning and being a part of it. Thank you, Judy. You are a treasure and a gem. Thank you so much for saying those kind words and being a part of the Islander Ohana. It's great. I want to give a quick shout out to Susie. Susie, aka Homemaker, formerly known Sue, aka the Homemaker, formerly known as Susie. Welcome, Sue, formerly known as Susie. Hope you're having aloha. Hope you're having a beautiful day. We're having a beautiful day now. We're having a beautiful day now, Susie. Thank you for. Is it okay if I call you Susie? Susie is just so much more enamoring. Kind of makes me want to call Misty Evangelia from now on, just because I know now that's her middle name, or one of her middle names. Hey, folks, by the way, and if you're here, if you're joining us, make sure you give us a shout out in the comments. We'd love to know that you're here. I'd like to say hi to you. I'd like to know where you're from. Let us know. It'd be great. Dylan, follow-up question. So, okay, great stats, great info, excellent. Thank you. What's your mindset when you see the the National Weather Service, Hurricane Hone, or Tropical Storm X, Y, or Z? Where's your head? I want to get into Dylan's head. Where's your head at? Yes, you're doing some storm prep. You check to see that you have rice and you have Spam. Okay, good. I want to know what Dylan's head is at. That's what I want to know.
This is not my professional advice, but my mindset is I don't participate. So I actually had a friend from the mainland staying with me when the storm was coming, and he's like, "What are we gonna do?" And I was like, "We're just not gonna participate. We're probably gonna go to the beach tomorrow," and that's what we did. So I don't. I mean, I don't go rush out and buy toilet paper. I mean, like, I got plenty of food in my house. I got plenty of pigs if we need to eat something around my house. Like, it's like there's a way more hype than is necessary. And again, I'll take my chances. If it's one out of every 30 years, I'll take my chances. So
there you go. I'm not going to participate. All right. That's the one that's like the headline there. Not going to, yeah. Storm, Hurricane Hone, not participating. Yeah. Excellent. Hey, wanted to give a quick shout out to Kathy. Judy is amazing. I've known her since kindergarten. Aloha from San Diego. Kathy, that's so cool. That's so that is so awesome. That's the first time I've ever seen that. Kathy, I think that's the first time I think you've made that kind of a comment. I think any comment, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, welcome. And say hi to your kindergarten buddy, Judy. That's so funny. And Sue said, "Lo, call me Susie. My oldest friend still do it great." Okay, then Susie it is. Susie it is. All right, great. So Kara, so what about you? What is your well, first of all, what was the Maui experience during the Hurricane Hone and the tropical storms, etc., besides this muggy weather that we got here today? But I really kind of want to know, what's it like living with, the big question is, right, what's it like living with extreme weather? When we don't, like, to Dylan's point, we don't really get extreme weather. We're spoiled actually with perfect weather, but it's called extreme weather. We do get those hurricane warnings. We do get the tsunami warnings. We get these things. What's it like in your head living with this kind of weather in Hawaii?
I have to second Dylan so dramatically. My cheeks have been hurting because I absolutely have the same feel. I've been here for so many years and I have young kids. And of course, you want to keep everybody safe. But honestly, so much grace is given that we don't have the extreme weather that's publicized so dramatically on the news. So on the mainland, people are thinking that we're in some chaos. And I too have those beach pictures. There was supposed to be an enormous tsunami, and I was at the beach. And that's where you're not supposed to be, but there was nothing happening. So unfortunately, my attitude is very similar to Dylan's, not only just not participating, but it's a beautiful day. I don't understand. Are we living in parallel worlds? Because it's not connecting. Now, every once in a while, there are areas of Maui that get hit, and it's primarily on the backside where Hana is, the east. So we're such a protected island from all of the other islands. Thank you, all other islands. We stay safe. That we very rarely get anything over here that's of any consequence. So I've had my roof blow off when I was in New York, but nothing here. So there's a extreme weather there and not so much Maui. So I've prepared my little oh no drawer, if you know what I mean, and I have my candles.
So what's an ono drawer? What's an ono drawer?
It's a not an ono drawer like yummy, like Hawaiian, but oh no, it's
the
actually
ono
real.
drawer.
Okay,
so there's a distinction, everybody. There's a distinction,
Yep.
everyone. There's the ono drawer, and ono is like, oh, that's
That's my
delicious. That's
kitchen.
delicious. Yeah, all the treats are in the ono drawer versus the
Yeah.
oh no.
Oh no,
drawer.
that's where the batteries
it.
and the candles and all of the extra food and everything. But no, I have both just in case, because a good mom is always prepared.
All right, awesome. Hey, so a quick thank you. I want to give a quick shout out to Paula. Says, lol, I love that I don't participate. Everyone laughs because I used to say fly kite weather and actually did it a couple times. I'm laughing so hard. All right, Paula, that's great. Excellent. Well, look, it's time for confessions here. Because I think it's my OCD personality. So I'm on like National Weather Service, hitting the refresh button, tracking the storm. I'm like, okay, there's going to be another storm update at 2 p.m. 1:59 p.m. I'm hitting the refresh button on National Weather Service, tracking the storm, looking at the rings, checking out where it is. And I think that's kind of what stresses me out, actually, is because I track these storms, and I to my detriment. But it's like storm. I think that, to me, what is and everything that Paula, everything that Kara and Dylan have said is true. We really are super lucky and super blessed. It's amazing how storms avoid Hawaii. But I do find myself so many times. I find myself tracking the storm, and I think that's what it actually freaks me out about these kinds of storms in Hawaii, which are different, I think, from tornadoes. Or mainland kind of stuff. Tornadoes, specifically, I'm originally from the Midwest, was born in Chicago, and tornadoes kind of strike kind of quickly. It just comes and it goes, and that's that. Whereas hurricanes, you have like a week. You have a week to freak out, right? At least for me, there's a week to freak out, right? It's tropical storm, and it's gaining strength, and we're watching it, and now it's no longer tropical storm Hone, it's Hurricane Hone, as like it's tracking this way. I even had the last. There was a hurricane near miss either 1 or 2 years ago. I forgot what it was, but there was one that came super close where it was like, it's coming, it's here, it's coming. Everybody get ready. I even filled my bathtub with water. I've got one of those liners where you put water in your bathtub because, like, okay, this thing is coming. I'm not going to go to the beach, and it bypassed this, but it was amazing. To give you guys a counterbalance, it's not just okay. So Kara did too. Okay, good.
I have to admit, Peter, I too filled my tubs on that one. I remember that one. That was the only one that I actually said, oh no. And I got my stuff straight and I was ready. And we had every window closed, everything locked down. But that was the one that I really was wowed by because nothing happened and it was blue, sunshiny skies.
Well, if we're talking about the same one, I forget the name, but that one actually did hit the east side of the Big Island. But that's the advantage that the rest of the islands have is when you can watch it on the weather tracker. When it hits the east side of the island, it hits the wall, it hits Mauna Loa, and then it just dissipates, and then it basically kills the storm. So that one, the east side did have some damage. Trees fell, there was some flooding, but it definitely spared the rest of the state because it's not like Florida or the low-lying areas of the East Coast where the storm can make landfall and then go for miles and miles and miles because it hits the mountain and basically can't pass the mountain. So if the Big Island gets a direct hit, the rest of the islands are pretty much safe.
That's so true. I remember Dylan, I remember that one. I can't, again, there were so many near misses, right? That's what's so amazing about Hawaii. There are so many near misses. Like to Rachel's point, I feel the same way too. We rarely get hit with any storm. It's amazing. I saw this. There was one of these weather map things that had mapped out like every single hurricane or tropical storm over the past 20 years or whatever. and it's almost like there's like this invisible shield around the state, and like these things were like all over the place, everywhere but the state. It was really, really amazing. And Rachel also does not, right? It's something, man. It is something.
There's gotta be some science behind, like, the islands in the ocean have to change the wind patterns and the water temperature, right? I mean, there has to be, and that's why a lot of times it approaches the state and it either goes below it or above it. A lot of times you see that storm turn, and that's why, like, when Iniki hit, that was like a once in a lifetime thing, because it went below the state, and then it curved up and hit Kauai head on from the south. It didn't come from the east. It was like a hook, a J hook, when it hit Kauai, which is very, very rare. Usually they just continue to move east and past the islands if they miss. So,
I was off island actually when Iniki came. But that must have been a major freak out, because it was, if you look at the map, it just made a hard right turn.
Like a 90-degree turn. Yeah.
90-degree hard right and straight up to Kauai. It was almost like, oh, you know what? I missed Kauai. Hold on a second, you guys. Right turn. It was really kind of a very, very, very freaky. Hey, I want to give it on me. One second. Quick shout out again, not shout out, but Rachel, yeah, I agree. I don't participate. However, we kind of got hit here in Ka'u. My Costco carport took a ride into the bushes. Ooh, the road was flooded to Hilo for 2 days. Well, Rachel, if the worst case is your Costco carport took a ride into the bushes and the road was flooded, I think, God bless. I think we all got off pretty easy. But yeah, I mean, but so the back to hurricane talk here. So the one I'm talking about is maybe it was headed straight for Oahu. It was like straight for Oahu, and then at the last minute, it turned. It was just it was coming out of the northwest, if I'm not mistaken. And it was barreling like dead on, and then it turned. So anyway, okay, enough scary talk. Hey folks, yeah, right. Enough scary talk. Okay, more positive talk now. Okay, so hey, look, if you got some questions that you, this is an Ask Us Anything show. So if you got anything you want to talk about, anything you want to ask us, this is the time to do it, because we're going to be moving on and handling a couple of things over here. But your questions are the most important. Yours are the one that count. Make sure you let us know if you have any questions. All right, great. So let's see. It's about 9:30. Why don't we do this? Let's talk about. We'll see how much time that we got. So let's hit into talking about our diamonds and deals over here. There's some properties that Kara and Dylan have prepared for us, and I'd like to kind of go over those. So let's see. Why don't we do this? That was Heidi's from last time, and we're skipping our. There we go. Okay. Well, someone's got 4 properties here for us. Someone's got 4. So is that whose is this? This got
mine was the first one, Peter, the one that you skipped up above.
Oh, it was. Oh, I apologize.
I put that in last night. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my bad. Thank you for bringing me back. Thank you. All right. So, Kara, what are we looking at over here?
So this is absolutely a diamond, because this is one of the condos that has this incredible direct ocean view that does not have any of that overwhelming erosion that's on the Lahaina side. So this is called the Valley Isle Resort, and it's a 1-1, and it's actually at a reasonable price for that amount of direct ocean view. At $749, that's an unheard of price. So this is a fantastic condo. It's very small, right there next to all of what Ka'anapali has to offer. And again, this is a true diamond. I've been in the unit, and it's just gorgeous. You're muted.
Thank you. Thank you. Whoever took those pictures, that they waited for the most perfect time of the day and an incredible day. That is is that you? Is that you?
No, I was just saying, I agree. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. That is really stunning. And I think it really kind of helps with the white interior, with the very, very light white interior contrast. It brings out that blue. That is a stunning view. I would love to be able to wake up to that in the morning and have my coffee. Yeah, that is an amazing. Thank you for that. Dylan, which one is your thank you, Kara, for sharing that. Dylan, which one is yours? Is it this one here? Is this yours, Dylan?
Yeah, the multiple, the 4 on there. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, all right, go for it. We got 4.
So I wanted to highlight this as an example of kind of what Kara was talking about, because our condo market is very soft also. But these are 3 units in Ali'ilani, which is a residential complex. That aerial photo on the top left there gives you an idea of what it looks like. But it's a really popular residential complex because there are no short-term vacation rentals allowed. So you only have folks that actually living there. And right now, our team has 3 units listed in there. And this is very rare because in the past, these are some of the most affordable kind of single-family residential condos, or 2-bedroom, 2-bath, about 900 square feet, depending on the model, but very nice and right on Ali'i Drive. So short walk or drive to most of our beaches and into town. But I mean, to just give you an idea of affordability, right? I mean, you got one for $520. It's totally updated with modern finishes. There's another one that's $520 that's totally upgraded. That's a ground floor unit. And then the other one's $535. That one's coming fully furnished with everything you need. So you just basically got to bring your suitcase and move in. It's got plates and forks and everything that you need. And that one's also updated recently. So, and that's a picture of the outdoor. So if you're on the ground floor, you also get like a little yard area where it's basically extra living area, right? You can use it as your dining room and have additional space to relax. And this one it's done really nice. It's got a shade built into it, but really affordable, $700 HOA fees. There are 2 pools in the complex. So really cool opportunity, but there's just a lot of inventory right now. In the past, these almost would sell immediately, and they're sitting a little bit longer. So it's a really good opportunity. So you can live in the heart of Kona in a very nice condo for, $500,000 right now. And again, I don't know how long that's going to last going forward. So definitely some deals going on.
That one for a 535 is that one of those ground units that has a little bit of an extra yard that you mentioned? Is that what that is?
Yeah, you get like almost like an additional 400 square feet outside. So, the interior is like 900 square feet, but when you get that exterior, and they're all different because some people modify them, and this one has like tile flooring, so it's almost, how nice. Hawaii is, like, that's your dining room. Like, you don't eat inside your house, you cook dinner inside and you take everything outside and enjoy the weather outside. So yeah, really, really nice option for, either a starter home, or if you want to kind of retirement and not spend $1 million, you can get into something really nice.
2-bedroom condo in Hawaii for 535 sounds like a deal to me. Excellent.
Fully furnished. You got beds and couches and TVs and everything you need. So yeah. Wow. Just move in. That's and it looks like it's, can't tell by the photos, but it looks like it's been nicely designed. There's a purpose of that one. I mean, certainly they all look nice. I mean, the one in the upper right they're all nice. They're all got their own way, but this one, I like the exterior with those plants in the corner and the rockery and the tiled thing. It's kind of cool. Neat. Cool. All right, great. Hey, thanks for sharing that. You know what? Let's do this. Let's back up. I got a few questions that people have submitted. We got some things that we can talk about. So let's see here. I'm going to try to get some that are relative. Oh, here's a good one. So this will be fun. So Jan from Ohio says, I've been told that the next 2 years are going to be a volatile period in Hawaii. How is this so? So this is interesting, right? So you guys must hear, I'm sure, being in the real estate business, you guys must hear all kinds of stories about I don't know, is it doom and gloom? Is it rates going up and down? Is it market falling out? Volatile period? Have you heard anything of this nature? Like, if Jan came to you and said, "Hey, I've been told that the next 2 years are going to be a very volatile period. How is this so?" What would your response be? Kara, why don't you go first on this? And Dylan, why don't you take it after Kara?
I'm going to put on the Dylan hat and I'm going to say that, tell me what you've heard. And then see what they've heard, because we have a different mindset, is that we're going to look at anything as an opportunity and not look at the volatility. So what is it that you've heard, and see where they're coming from. After that, as far as my view on what I've heard, yes, as through all real estate, there's going to be highs and lows. So it's how we balance it. What is it? There's people that are always going to be selling. There's people that are always going to be buying. So how do we position ourselves to do what we need to do naturally? What is the volatility that they're talking about, and how can we address it? So for me, again, using what Dylan said in that previous discussion about hurricanes, is not participating in the negativity. I don't see volatility. I see opportunities. So that's my thought.
Oh, that's the great one. I don't see volatility. Well, I would add to what you said, where there is volatility, there is opportunity. In fact, opportunity to even spin even more positively. It's like, well, the only time there actually is opportunity is when there is volatility. But anyway, that's beside the point.
In a down market, that's the best time, right? So in
Yeah.
a down market, or when there is volatility, that's the time where the people that are running to the left, the people who take advantage and win for the long haul, go to the right. So it's just how you position your mind on it.
That's it. That's exactly right. So Dylan, how do you respond to questions like, hey, I heard that there's volatility in the next 2 years. How is this so? What's your response?
Yeah, just like Kara said, I would ask for more information on exactly what they're referring to so we can kind of dig deeper into that. But if you look at, I mean, this is just such a perspective question, because if you look at the last couple of years, I mean, was COVID volatile? Was the rise in interest rates volatile? Was the crazy market we had in 21 volatile? I mean, it's really whether or not, what your perspective is on all of those things. And I think in comparison to the last 4 years and everything that we've been through, the next 2 years are probably going to be really boring and stable. I mean, unless something catastrophic happens. I mean, we've been through some of the craziest, most volatile markets that we've seen, in a very short amount of time. And we went from COVID shutting everything down to the low interest rate, extremely insane, most insane market we've ever seen, to like humongous raise in interest rates that slowed everything back down. And so over the next couple of years, I think there's probably going to be a lot more stability than we've actually seen in a long time. And we're personally, right, if we're talking about the real estate business, going through one of the most volatile changes to our industry that we've seen. Absolutely. And we've been talking about this on the last few shows. Depending on your perspective, I mean, we've taken it as a huge opportunity to get better and become more professional and build stronger relationships with our clientele and communicate better with them and give them more opportunity and more transparency. And so some people are totally freaking out if you're like, into the inside baseball of real estate. Some people think it's the end of the world in terms of what's going on now with commissions and representation. But we've just spent 2 weeks intensely discussing this and training on this and masterminding around it, and really coming to the conclusion that this is a good thing for everybody, the industry and the consumer. And, we're going to do our best to play a positive role in it. And that's basically what we've been focused on. So we're not seeing it as a negative thing at all.
We welcome the volatility. That's what we do. We welcome the volatility.
The only thing that ever stays the same is change.
Amen.
Right? So
that's it. That is it, man. That is the
wave. That's what we do.
Well said. Excellent. Yeah, great. Hey, I think we got time for one more. So this one's going to be an interesting one. So we have a question here that came from Megan from Orcas Island, Washington. Is it hard to find a mooring spot for a live-aboard boat? And I thought that's kind of interesting. Well, I don't have stats for you, Megan, but I know that on Oahu, there's a very, very, very long waiting list to get anywhere near. Strangely enough, right? We live in, we are, it's kind of weird, right? We're surrounded by water and we have like hardly no, very, very few places for boats to park, whatever that's called, piers or whatever you want to call it. Protected bays. It's a very, very few, surprisingly. I'd love to know what the stats are on a per capita basis. But so Oahu's got super long waiting list. Forget about it. Kara, do you have any sense of what the Maui situation is like? I mean, there was like Lahaina Harbor. There is no such thing as Lahaina Harbor anymore. That's gone.
That's kind of what I was going to call right out. The fact is when I saw that question, I was like, okay, we're 50% down in possibility right there. I mean, it's not even funny. So all of the people that did have their boats survive, they're now mooring in the Ma'alaia Harbor. So in truth, yes, there's possibility, but again, there's just nothing available. They've moved the Lahaina Harbor over to the Ma'alaia Harbor.
Yeah. And decreased the supply tremendously. So yes, yeah, no way, Megan, unless you're going to live with someone else who's already got a boat that's already got a mooring, ain't going to happen. Dylan, what about how's the Big Island on this topic? Oh, by the way, you're real quick on what's Wes just jumped in. Wes is also Island Ohana member. Wes has got and his wife, Wes and Jess They have a great story. Great to have them part of the honor home. They're a great couple. Love having you guys. Dylan, what's the situation with boat harboring or boat harbors or mooring a boat on the Big Island?
So I would start with just explaining the geography of the islands, right? And we're relatively a young island chain. And so it's not like the mainland or older islands where you have a lot of low-lying areas where you can build harbors that are safe. And so Oahu has some, and probably the most on any island. Kauai has a little bit, but on Maui and the Big Island, you have basically, it's a very steep island that goes right into the ocean. And so there aren't places where you can build protected harbors. And so we have very limited just geographical land availability for the kind of places where you have kind of live on boats. And on the Big Island, we basically have two. We have Honolulu Harbor on the west side, and we have Hilo Bay on the east side. And both of them have very limited amount of slips, and so very long waiting lines. And even in those cases, those harbors are not built for liveaboard boats. And so you don't have like the sewer hookups and the power hookups and the water and stuff that you would normally have. This is almost a similar situation like trailer parks, right? Or RV parks that we've talked about in the past, where we just don't have them because the infrastructure doesn't exist. Like you can bring an RV here, but then you don't have like the park to go and hook up all your stuff to drain your wastewater and refill water and hook up to electricity and all that stuff. So yeah, it's not, Honolulu has more, but it's still very limited. But it's just not something that's very common, especially on the neighbor islands.
It's amazingly limited. I mean, there's obviously you've given the geographic reason for the Big Island has. There's a bunch of geographic reasons, and Oahu. I mean, and I suppose there may be the same argument for Oahu that would explain a lot. It's just kind of strange to me. One of these things that haven't quite thought about too much, but it's kind of odd. Is like don't have a lot of boat harbors, and we also don't. And just sorry, the brain just going off here. We also don't have a lot of oceanfront restaurants. There's very few oceanfront restaurants on Oahu, for example. You'd think that we have like, a ton more, but we really don't. There's not that many oceanfront or near this. It's kind of weird. It's kind of strange. One of those things. But you know what? One thing's for sure though, is that Rachel agrees that change is the only constant. That is true, isn't it, Rachel? Change is the only constant. And it's like, so basically, you got to embrace change all the time, or it's not gonna go well. It's not gonna go well for you for a variety of things, because it is a constant. Embrace the change, and so that's that. So I'm gonna blow that first name. So Jyoti Young Maui. How is it?
Jyoti.
You did a great job.
Jyoti. All right, Jyoti, Young Maui Island Realtor. Aloha, Megan, former Orcas resident here. Awesome. That's a cool connection. Megan, I hope you're here with us, because it's all about you today, Megan. So, but whether it is or not, if you watch this on a recorded show or not, we're glad that. Thank you, Jyoti, for chiming in. Excellent. Yeah, change is it, man. That is the deal. And the more you embrace, the more fun it becomes. All right, let's move on. Let's go into some closing thoughts. There's a lot of folks that are joining us that are realtors on Dylan's team. And if you go, realtors, you're in the sales business, right? You're sort of like your own person. You're running your own business. So motivational thoughts are a big deal. I know that you folks have got a ton of them. Throw them in the comments. I'd like to see them. Put your closing thoughts, your closing motivational thoughts in the comments. But let's do this one. So Kara, all right. Kara's been preparing for this since last night. Kara, what's yours? Yours and what does it mean to you?
All right. If only our eyes saw souls instead of bodies, how different would our ideals of beauty be? This is huge because my son was just talking about his body. He's 12 and he's, changing, and he's all embarrassed. And I was like, you know what? Who you really are isn't your body, it's your soul. And then I saw this right smack after I said that. So it has a personal connection to me. And of course, I always want everybody to feel connected to the best versions of themselves. And when I saw that, I could imagine closing my eyes what the world would be like if we all just saw each other in our true essence of who we really are, instead of comparing ourselves or feeling less than. So this has a lot involved in it.
That is a good one, Kara. Thanks for bringing that up. A couple of immediate things is, yeah, don't. I would say the corollary on this is that uh, your friends' lives on Facebook are not really your friends' true lives on Facebook and Instagram. That was one thing I would say. And then just to riff on it a little bit more, Kara, one thing that's interesting, you talk about, if you can see the true person, if you can see the soul of the person. One thing that's I've noticed is, especially since COVID and we've had this sort of online world, there's a lot of people now that I've only known through a video chat. I've only known through Zoom meetings. I've only known through video talking, and then I meet them in person. And what's interesting to me is to a person, I actually almost don't recognize them when I see them in person. In other words, they're genuine, at least for me, they genuinely look like really, really, really different. In other words, I'm almost seeing like two different people, right? The person, like, I'm sure, Kara, if and when the wonderful day comes when I meet you in person, of course, I'll recognize you at first, but I know that you're not going to look to me in person, look right now on the screen. And I don't know if it's yes, I mean, I could probably give a scientific reason that it's because of the lighting and the one-dimensionality and the limited bandwidth and all these kind of things that we don't see, et cetera, et cetera.
And the
but I think
that you put on.
or the filters that take away my dark spots, my old guy dark spots, and make my hair nice and dark on the video screen. But I also kind of say that there's an element about it that when you are in person, there are more things than meet the eye that you see. And that is, to me, my theory why when you see someone in person that you've never seen before in person, they do not look the same. In my case, I almost don't recognize them in person. And I think there's a soul element for it, a soul element to it. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So, okay, let's move on. So, gang, if you've got any, if you've got any motivational thoughts, pop them in. But meanwhile, Dylan, what's yours, Dylan, and what does it mean to you?
So again, we don't, pre-plan this show too much in terms of the content, but funny about around the discussion we just had. But life is 10% what happens and 90% of how you react to it. And I think that's so good. It's such in a context of the hurricanes and volatility in the market and other things. But at the end of the day, right, I mean, we can't control what's going to happen, but we can 100% control how we react to it and how we respond. And that is in life, in business, with other people. And so I think it's just a really important thing to understand is really not that significant what happens. It's really significant how you react to it.
That's right.
Yes, Dylan, except unless the president that I don't want gets elected, then the world's going to come to an end.
The end of the world.
If the president I don't want gets elected, the world will end. So that is one exception that we have to make. So thank you. Very, very true. It is about
I'll tell you one funny anecdotal story about this. In 2020, I had a client that was under contract for a very nice oceanfront condo for about $600,000, and his candidate didn't win for president and decided to cancel buying because he was so worried about what was going to happen to the country, to the economy, or whatever, and ended up canceling. And today that condo is worth about 1.2 million. So depending on how you react to it, it could cost you 600 grand. So it's I always think back on that. Don't make your real estate decisions based on the election because
that's a good one. Well. That's a good one.
Sold hundreds of thousands of properties, and it's the only time I've ever had somebody canceled based on the election, and it was a big mistake. So
that's really funny. And here's what a quick anecdote is. What's really cool about this, and I hope those of you that are watching now can hopefully you'll appreciate this. But notice how we've talked about the presidential race, but we haven't named any candidates. You have no idea. You may have an idea who we're going to want to vote for, but you have no idea who we're voting for. We're not promoting anybody, and that's the way I kind of like it. Right? We could talk about it. If the president you don't want gets elected, the world will come to an end. I didn't say X or Y or Z. I said your president you don't want. And that's, I could go for a little bit more of that, but yeah. Anyway, that is a very costly mistake. I bet that person is regretting that presidential they're regretting that decision based on fear, based on their presidential politics, and I wish them well. All right, I'm going to close up with or bring it into mine here, which is of course Proverbs: trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own insight. This one is a really interesting one to me, because it's telling me the teaching here is, yes, you can make up whatever plans that you want, but really your insights are inferior to the divine insights. Those insights that come from the divine are the ones that you really need to trust. Now, whatever your divine is, that's up to you to figure out, but it's the divine connection that is really what you would trust in. Less about trusting your insights and more about trusting the insights of the divine. And that's kind of hard to remember, because no one's a better consultant for me than me, and no one knows better about my life than me. But that's not really the case. Is trust in the Lord with all of your insight. And let's see here. We do have now. Thank you, Rachel. Rachel is participating. You are being presented with two choices: evolve or repeat. Excellent. Yes, evolve or repeat. What's it going to be? I will take the evolve, thank you, as opposed to the repeat. Then again, I wouldn't mind a repeat of some youth. That would be kind of cool to repeat. I wouldn't mind that. That would be all right. I wouldn't mind repeating not being sore in the morning and getting out of bed. I wouldn't mind my eyes not going bad. That would be a pretty cool thing to repeat. But hey, that's that. All right. Hey, Kara, thanks for being here. You're a very bright and very cheerful and a great addition. Dylan, thanks for making it for. I know you had some challenge. It's always challenging. Look, you're in a hotel room, for crying out loud, doing the show. So thanks for making it out, and wish you best on your next jiu-jitsu match. We're going to see you folks in 2 weeks. Thank you all for participating, for making your comments, making everything available. Let's all say goodbye. Let's say goodbye first, Dylan, and then Kara, you wrap it up.
Hello, everybody. Have an awesome weekend. Have a long, happy Labor Day.
Thank you all for joining us today. We hope we brought some love and sunshine to you all. Thank you, Peter. And I look forward to having you nickname me next time I'm on the show. I want your nickname. Susie has hers. I want one.
There you go.
Everybody have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And Barbara says, I agree with you, Peter. Also, love God and love your neighbor. Yes, those are the two most important things, right? That above all else, right? Above all else. On those two are the ones. Thank you, Bart, for participating there. Yes. Thank you for the care. All right, great. Gang, have a fabulous weekend. Thank you, Dylan, for reminding us that it's Labor Day weekend. Enjoy the Monday. Enjoy the holiday. Exactly. Have a great one. Have a great one, folks. See you all in 2 weeks. Aloha.